Hey guys, and welcome back to my kitchen. So before we get started, I just wanted to say thank you because this past week, my channel passed 10,000 subscribers.
Wow.
And that's just crazy to me. Thank you guys so much, and I really appreciate all the support. To be honest, I feel like I'm still figuring out my channel and this still feels very new to me. So moving on to today's video, I wanted to talk about some more Swedish words and phrases. And, I've mentioned this in a couple videos, but I have a list that I've been keeping of just anything and everything that has stood out to me since moving here. So that includes foods, which I just did my last video about, and also just a lot of grammar and Swedish language related things. So that's where this video comes in, because there's a few words and phrases that have taken me a while to learn or I still struggle with.
Jag är dig skyldig.
Ja.
Jag är dig skyldig. I owe you.
Ja.
Aha,
Men om man
ja.
tänker- ja.
Ja.
Direktöversättning, det har jag använt.
I made a video before where I talked about Swedish words that don't translate to English, but this time it's kind of the opposite, where it's English words that don't directly translate. And what I mean by that is there's not like a one word translation. I can't think of another word. So the first example that I have is the word bring. And this took me so long to just accept that there was not a direct word in Swedish. And in Swedish, you always have to say ta med. Also, I'm sorry for any pronunciation mistakes. I'm still working on it. But in Swedish, you always have to say ta med, which means to take with. So it makes sense when it's like, okay, yeah, if you bring something, you're taking something with you. But in Swedish, you always have to say both words together. And then if it's past tense, then you say tog med, which, yeah, it's kind of saying like I took with me instead of I brought. I'm just now realizing bring is a hard word in English. What? To bring and I brought. So that one has taken me a while. And similarly, moving on to like my next example is the word for join. So join can be used in different contexts. And I think that's what I've had to learn in Swedish, is that you actually have to use different words for different contexts, because there is no universal word for join in Swedish. So it seems like most often people will either say följa med. You can also use the word kom, or also häng. I think an example would be if you said like, oh, do you want to join us? And then you'd say, vill du hänga med oss? I hope. I feel like I'm giving a Swedish lesson, but believe me, I'm the one that's trying to learn this. Okay, so just jumping in here quickly, because after filming this, I wanted to double check and see if I understood things right about the word join. So I went onto Instagram and I asked you guys. The first question I asked was how to say join us for dinner. And there were a lot of answers. I actually got quite a variety of responses, but in general, most people said kom or kom över, kom och ät, and kom på. And then I asked about joining a book club, which apparently wasn't the most practical example, but the answers are split pretty evenly between vara med and gå med. Okay, I hope I got that all right, and back to the video. I've even heard in Swedish people will use like a Swinglish word and they'll say joina. So it's literally just the word join, but they make it more Swedish and say joina. But to join, as far as I know, there's no direct translation. It's always kind of like a combo of words, or it's very situational, I think, as well. So my next example doesn't quite fit into the English translation part of this video, but it is a phrase that has taken me a long time to understand. The phrase håller du på med, or I guess you'd say vad håller du på med, which is essentially like a casual way of asking vad gör du?
Vad fan håller du på med? Släpp min kebab!
So instead of just saying those three words, vad gör du, you say vad håller du på med. It took me a long time to even realize that this actually meant the same thing, but it's just more of like a casual way of asking. I think when you try to translate it word for word, I mean, it doesn't make any sense because it would be like keep you on with, or like hold you on with. But then what also surprised me was that if you respond to that question, or just in general, you could say, oh, jag håller på att, and then you'd say the actual thing you're doing. So instead of saying jag läser, you would say jag håller på att läsa. It's confusing because it just seems like so many unnecessary words. And I guess as a language learner, you want things to be as simplified as possible. So that one has taken me a while to, I guess, get used to, and hopefully I will be actually using this phrase fairly soon. So my next example is the word bråttom. It's a word that I think I always understand what it means in context, but again, I've never said it because I feel like I don't know how to say it yet. But essentially, you can say it in the phrase vi har bråttom, which means we are in a hurry. So I think the word bråttom is kind of like hurry. I guess that's when I got a little confused because the other word I knew for hurry would have been skynda. So if you're telling someone to hurry up, you would say skynda dig. But then when you're talking about like we are in a hurry, or like I'm in a hurry, jag har bråttom. And har means to have. So it's kind of like I have a hurry. It sounds like you can be in a hurry, and then skynda dig sounds more like a command of like hurry up. But I don't think you could be like bråttom dig. Ha bråttom. Can you say that? No, I have no idea. So going back to another word that does not translate from English to Swedish, it would be rycker på axlarna. I always am so embarrassed by my pronunciation, but att rycka på axlarna, which means to shrug. I was so surprised when I found out there is no direct translation for this. You actually have to say all of that to just say shrug. Now, this phrase actually does make sense when you translate it word for word, because att rycka means to tug, and axlarna is shoulders, or the shoulders. So att rycka på axlarna is to tug on the shoulders. So yeah, it really does make sense when you do translate it word for word, you know, to tug on the shoulders, but I think I'd prefer saying shrug instead. Okay, so I originally filmed this part, but I wasn't happy with how it turned out, so I'm redoing it now. So I'm super excited because this video is a collaboration with ELANS. They're also called Fun Swedish on Instagram and YouTube. They typically post miniature Swedish lessons, and they usually have to do with relevant events. For example, they just had a few posts about Midsommar and also about the European Cup, although we might not need any more lessons about that. They currently offer video courses from beginner Swedish all the way through upper intermediate. Each course has between 12 and 15 hours of content, and there's also free previews available so that you can see if you like the course or to get a feel for what the course is like. If you sign up for one of their video courses, you can get 15% off by using the code Megan at checkout, and I've included links to their Instagram, YouTube, and website in the description. All right, back to the video. Okay, so there you have it. That's part 2 of my words that don't translate between Swedish and English. I have many more examples, so I will be making more videos like this in the future. Thank you for watching. If you could, please like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys very soon. Hej då!
Sveriges starkaste man 1997 är Magnus Samuelsson.